And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every single Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio every Friday afternoon from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get the emails that I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 646-652-2464. Again, that number, 646-652-2464. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, today, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer in his series, The American Grid. My special guest is Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, talking about new cell phone technology, and he says there's lots of it going on for today. I want to remind you that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. That's down from 97 degrees on its way to 64 in sunny Southern California. But you know what? Let's talk about the news. I've capsulated that so we can deal with a lot of stuff and keep you up to date. That way you can talk to your friends, your neighbors, your working peers, people you work for, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the news today, or in the world today, actually, for that matter. First off, anxiety and anger hang over the city as it seeks some normalcy. Cars rolled through the streets, students returned to class, and symphony played on a sidewalk today, offering the city a slice of normality as it recovers from the rioting and looting earlier this week. Still, anger and anxiety hung over Baltimore. A few dozen protesters gathered peacefully outside the office of Baltimore's top prosecutor, calling for swift justice in the case of Freddie Gray, a black man who suffered critical injuries while in police custody, and students planned to march to City Hall to protest. Authorities were going to carefully monitor the rally after teenagers started the violence Monday afternoon, throwing bricks and bottles at officers who had gathered near a major bus transit point. The situation escalated from there, overwhelming police as protesters set fire to cars and buildings and raided stores. Schools closed Tuesday because of the mayhem, but reopened Wednesday, or today I should say for that matter, after the city's first night of a curfew went off without a widespread violence many had feared. Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake talked to 4th and 8th graders at New Song Center in West Baltimore, not far from where Gray was arrested. She said she was impressed by the children's perspective. They understand very clearly the difference between demonstrators that have a righteous purpose and those who are preying on this opportunity for their own benefit, she said. About 3,000 police and National Guardsmen descended on the city to help keep order, and life wasn't likely to get completely back to normal anytime soon. The curfew was set to go back into effect at 10 p.m. this evening. We'll see if, along with that curfew, comes from peace. You know what? We certainly hope so, don't we? Sure we do. And latest on a police custody death, protesters are still marching in the city, and they're expecting even more of that to go on this evening. You know, how about we look a little bit at the knowns and unknowns in that Baltimore case? You know, a week and a half after 25-year-old Freddie Gray died, there are still many unanswered questions about the explosive case. And look at some of the knowns and unknowns. Why did police stop him? Police say they went after him after he fled at the sight of an officer in a drug-infested neighborhood. Why he ran? is anybody's guess. Police say they later found a switchblade in his pocket. During the arrest, officers on bicycles chased him down, pinned him to the sidewalk, and then lifted him and took him, his legs dragging on the ground, to a police van. He pleaded for an inhaler during the arrest and asked repeatedly for medical help during the half-hour ride to the station. He died a week later. What was the cause of death? Well, police say Greg died of a significant spinal injury, and an attorney for the family says his spine was 80% severed in the neck area. Police have received a preliminary report on an autopsy, while the full autopsy could take 25 to 40 days to complete. Police say no bodily injury was evident during the post-mortem and no limbs were broken. Gray's relatives plan to seek a second private autopsy. So, how and when did the injury actually happen? That's the big question. It's not clear whether he got hurt during the arrest, the ride, or both. Police say he was in leg irons and handcuffs in the van, but was not belted in. That's a violation of policy. That has raised suspicions that Gray was deliberately taken on a rough ride to teach him a lesson and was injured when he got thrown around the back of that vehicle. So who knows what went on inside that van? Well, we don't know. Only Gray knows. And you know what? Unfortunately, he can't tell us. Isn't that a sad fact? Well, women rescued from Boko Haram need psychological care, I guess. Some of the nearly 300 girls and women freed by Nigeria's military from the forest stronghold of Boko Haram were so transformed by their captivity that they opened fire on their rescuers, and experts said today they would need intensive psychological treatment. The military was flying in medical and intelligence teams to evaluate the former captives, many of whom were severely traumatized, said Army spokesman Colonel Sani Usman. He said earlier that none of the schoolgirls kidnapped from the northeastern town of Chibok a year ago appeared to be among the 200 girls and 93 women rescued yesterday. But today, he said further screening was needed before their identities could be determined. The processing is continuing. It involves a lot of things because most of them are traumatized, and you have got to put them in a psychological frame of mind to extract information from them, Usman said. A counselor who has treated other women freed from Boko Haram captivity said some had become indoctrinated into believing the group's Islamic extremist ideology, while others had established strong emotional attachments to militants that they had been forced to marry. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about 40 years on, images of Saigon's fall remain indelible. We're going to tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So don't go away. We'll be right back. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call,
at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking about the news, and as I promised, you know what? It's 40 years on, and images of Saigon's fall remain indelible. 40 years later, the images remain searing. Throngs of desperate South Vietnamese civilians trying to scale the walls of the U.S. Embassy in Saigon, hoping somehow to squeeze aboard one of the helicopters evacuating U.S. personnel and their associates in the face of an onslaught by North Vietnamese forces. U.S. Ambassador Graham Martin, in fear of spreading panic, had delayed launching the evacuation until the last opportunity. As a result, potentially better plans for transport planes or cargo ships were scrapped, and the helicopters, with space for fewer refugees, were called in on April the 29th, 1975. By late afternoon, perhaps 10,000 desperate Vietnamese had converged on the embassy, many of them fearful of retaliation by the North Vietnamese for their cooperation with the U.S. during the Long War. There were other designated pickup points in Saigon besides the embassy, but helicopters did not reach them all, leaving behind some of the most vulnerable Vietnamese, many of them CIA workers. Some planes that did try to leave Saigon's airport were actually shot down. Well, that was 40 years ago, if you think about it. I don't even want to think about it, to be honest with you. Just a horrible thought. So the people we left behind were people that were working with us and helping us, and we left them to the design of the North Vietnamese. How horrible was that? Well, how about this? Aid begins arriving in Nepal's remote quake-hit villages. The first supplies of food aid began reaching remote earthquake-shattered mountain villages in Nepal today, while thousands clamored to board buses out of Kathmandu, either to check on rural relatives or for fear of spending yet another night in the damaged capital. Frustration over the slow delivery of humanitarian aid boiled over in a protest in the city, with about 200 people facing off with police and blocking traffic. The protest was comparatively small and no demonstrators were detained, but it reflected growing anger over bottlenecks that delayed much-needed relief 4 days after the powerful earthquake that killed more than 5,000 people, injured twice that many, and left tens of thousands homeless. Police, meanwhile, arrested dozens of people on suspicion of looting or causing panic by spreading rumors of another big quake. Helicopters finally brought food, temporary shelter, and other aid to hamlets north of Kathmandu in the mountainous Gorkha district near the epicenter of Saturday's 7.8 magnitude quake. Entire clusters of homes that were reduced to piles of stone and splintered wood. Women greeted the delivery with repeated cries of, "We're hungry." While the death toll in the village of Gumda was low, only 5 people were killed and 20 were injured among 1,300 residents. Most had lost their homes and desperately needed temporary shelter, along with the 40 kilogram, about 90-pound sacks of rice that were delivered today. Adding to residents' misery was the rain that had fallen periodically since the quake and hampered helicopter aid flights. The United Nations World Food Program warned that it will take time for food and other supplies to reach more remote communities that had been cut off by landslides. More helicopters, more personnel, and certainly more relief supplies, including medical teams, shelter, tents, water, and sanitation and food, are obviously needed, said the program's Jeff Pinnock, who was coordinating the flights. With more than 8 million Nepalese affected by the earthquake, including 1.4 million who need immediate food assistance, Pinnock said the effort would continue for months. President Barack Obama called Prime Minister Sushi Koirala and discussed U.S. military and civilian efforts already underway to help Nepal, the White House actually said today. You know, you can't say enough about those people and how poor they are and how much they need. It's just a horrible, horrible thing that nature has put out there. Well, former U.S. commander, take nuclear missiles off high alert. Taking U.S. and Russian missiles off high alert could keep a possible cyber attack from starting a nuclear war, a former commander of U.S. nuclear forces says, but neither country appears willing to increase the lead time to prepare the weapons for launch. Retired General James Cartwright said in an interview that de-alerting nuclear arsenals could foil hackers by reducing the chance of firing a weapon in response to a false warning of attack. Essentially, adding a longer fuse can be done without eroding the weapon's deterrent value, said Cartwright, who headed Strategic Command from 2004 to 2007 and was vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff before retiring in 2011. The Obama administration has considered and rejected the idea before taking nuclear missiles off high alert. There appears to be little near-term chance that Moscow would agree to pursue this or any other kind of nuclear arms control measure, given the deteriorating U.S.-Russian relations with Russia intervention in eastern Ukraine. The U.S. and Russia also are at odds over U.S. accusation that Moscow is violating a treaty banning medium-range nuclear missiles. Robert Schar, the Pentagon's top nuclear policy official, told Congress this month that it did not make any great sense to de-alert forces because the administration believes the missile needed to be ready and effective and able to prosecute the mission at any point in time. Hear, hear. You know, we can't not be ready. That's all that I can say. And then finally, the Japan Prime Minister offers condolences to World War II dead in a historic speech. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe offered condolences today for Americans killed in World War II in the first address by a Japanese leader to a joint meeting of Congress, but stopped short of apologizing for wartime atrocities. Abe came to Capitol Hill after a morning visit to the Washington Memorial to more than 400,000 American service members who died in the conflict. He remarks to a packed chamber a day after meeting President Barack Obama were warmly received by lawmakers. My dear friends, on behalf of Japan and the Japanese people, I offer with profound respect my eternal condolences to the souls of all American people that were lost during the World War II, he said, prompting his audience to rise in applause. Well, you know what? He skirted another issue that some U.S. lawmakers had also been urging him to address in what is the 70th anniversary of the end of the war, the sexual slavery of tens of thousands of Asian women by Japan's military, which remains a sore point with another staunch U.S. ally, South Korea. One of the few dozen surviving Korean victims, Young-Soo Lee, 87 years old, was in the gallery to watch Abe's address, seated in a wheelchair. Now, don't go away, because when we get back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. My first case today, it's a split decision. A tax protester escapes tax for 1 year, but he's penalized for others. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated Celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS Losers. We can actually call this Personal Winners Hotline today. Now, our first case, it's a tax protester escapes tax for 1 year, but he's penalized for others. Let me tell you, an individual didn't file returns for 4 years, including 2000. Now, when the IRS assessed tax and moved to levy against him, he went to the IRS Office of Appeals. However, he made only frivolous arguments questioning the IRS's authority, so appeals upheld the levy. He then went to tax court. Now, this is what the tax court actually had to say. The appeals officer's report said that she was unable to verify that a deficiency notice had ever been sent to the taxpayer for 2000. The notice was a requirement for the IRS to collect tax, so it cannot collect the tax for that year. But it can collect tax for the other years, and the taxpayer is penalized, get this, $6,000 for making frivolous arguments. So, I tell you all the time, the IRS is really not stupid. You want to make sure you're careful about what you're doing because, you do something frivolous, something stupid, they're going to come back and they're going to get you and they're going to hurt you. So you want to be careful with that. How about this? The IRS loses. A military retiree wins a refund. Robert Vircher retired from the military and drew retirement pay. Now, he then applied for tax-free disability benefits and received them retroactively. He wasn't entitled to receive both for the same period, so some disability benefits were withheld to reimburse the retirement system. But the Veterans Administration, the VA, withheld an amount to repay Vircher's gross retirement pay, not the after-tax amount that he actually received. He said that taking this reimbursement from tax-free disability benefits caused his taxes to be overpaid, so he sued the IRS and the VA for a refund. This is what the court said. They're finding for Vercher. Using tax-free funds to repay a taxable amount caused him a loss that he is entitled to have refunded. You got to love this stuff, right? It's perfect. How about one more case for you? The IRS loses. A husband escapes the tax on his wife's embezzlement. Go figure. Now, a wife stole $40,000 from her employer without her husband knowing. When the theft was actually discovered, her lawyer told her to report it as income to minimize penalties. But the IRS bars a couple who have signed a joint return from switching to separate returns, so her husband had to file an amended joint return with her. He later said he shouldn't be liable for the tax due to the money that she stole, but the IRS said he didn't qualify for innocent spouse relief because he voluntarily signed the return knowing the tax was going to be due. He went to court. This is what the judge said. This general rule poorly fits the facts of the case. Equity requires that the husband be granted relief. Now, you got to know that just makes sense. Penalizing him because he's trying to help his wife out. He had nothing to do with this scam to start with. Now, wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is making decisions? Here's the thing: if you know about these things, like we're going to tell you about, you can use this to your advantage, and that's what you really want to do. Let's start off with a pitfall in making a deal with the IRS. You know, the IRS and the taxpayer are generally bound by the terms of the settlement that they reach to resolve a tax controversy. Now, this includes offers in compromise and qualified settlement agreements. Now, the downside? What if you make an offer to settle that the IRS accepts and then discover that you failed to take advantage of a net operating loss carryover of a deduction that you were entitled to? Well, unless the IRS agrees to amend the terms of the contract, which is really unlikely, you're just out of luck. I can say that, but basically, not going to happen. How about this? Is your tax return being prepared in India? What do you think? Well, you know, some tax practitioners, including CPA firms, are outsourcing the preparation of income tax returns to countries offering cheap labor. Now, India is often used for this. When returns are done this way, the tax practitioner signs your return, still has primary responsibility for its accuracy of that return, but there's a risk here. Your private financial information is being transmitted to a developing country where the risk of identity theft is increased. Your best bet? Ask your tax advisor where your return is going to be prepared this year and act accordingly. You know what? If you wanted your return prepared in India, you'd have gone to India. You wouldn't have gone to a local licensed agency or agent to have this thing done. Insist that if you're going to pay his fee, he's going to do the taxes. He's not going to send it to some guy out in India. And if he says he is, then maybe it's time for you to change tax preparers. Let me give you one last one. A contingent attorney's fee in the IRS. You know, the IRS will generally take the position that the entire legal award received by a taxpayer must be considered part of the taxpayer's gross income, and the contingency fee paid to the attorney be classified as an itemized deduction. Now, here's the problem with that. The value of an itemized deduction for legal fees may be reduced or eliminated after consideration of the alternative minimum tax. Accordingly, you'll wind up paying tax on the entire recovery, even though perhaps 1/3 was paid to your attorney. Now, some states have come to the rescue here. Taxpayers living in Alabama, Michigan, and Texas are not required to include recovered attorney fees in their gross income. And based on litigation in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, taxpayers who live in Louisiana and Mississippi also do not have to include recovered attorney's fees in their gross income. Now, the Supreme Court's currently reviewing this case, and it may set a national standard, and hopefully it'll do that. But right now, do not go away. Waiting in the wings, we have our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. I got word today that lots of things are happening in the cell phone industry and the service providers. So don't go away. We'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, after these brief messages. Do you suffer from autoimmune disorders, thyroid conditions, or weight loss problems? Geared for Wellness can help. Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness program employs a synergistic team including experts in the fields of chiropractic, diet, nutrition, and neurotoxicity.
Together, their experienced team is trained in utilizing cutting-edge and up-to-date nutrition and cellular detoxification programs designed to treat autoimmune disorders, thyroid conditions, Graves' disease, weight loss resistance, fibromyalgia, and much more. Contact them today to schedule your 100% guaranteed consultation. If you don't agree that they can help you, you don't pay. Call them now at 442-400-4373 or go to their webpage at www.gearedforwellness.com. Again, that number is 442-400-4373. You'll be glad you did. Setup My Cell is a smartphone and tablet setup and training service that sends a tech to your location. That's right. Setup My Cell will send a live tech to your home or office for smartphone and tablet tech support and training. Their techs can fix email glitches, sync iPhones with Android, PC, and Mac, and so much more. Contact them toll-free at 888-628-1119. For individuals, learn about everything our techs can do to help you make friends with your smart device. It is our opinion that a basic setup should be installed onto every device. Learn how we guide you through the session to choose the best apps and configurations with training. And for businesses, loading apps, configurations, security settings, training, we are able to help with all aspects of your investment. Please visit our webpage at setupmycell.com and don't forget to call us at 888-628-1119. Are you looking for real conservative talk from real conservatives? You need to listen to my good friend John Matthews on his radio show, The Conservative Syndicate. For over 50 years, the progressive movement has worked to redefine our Constitution by erecting an imaginary wall of separation between church and state through legislation and adjudication that encourages government dependence and the licensing of immorality that removes personal responsibility. The Conservative Syndicate seeks to tear down this wall through education, information, and engagement with those who seek uncompromising truth regarding the religion of politics and the politics of religion. It is time to reclaim our standing as one nation under God, hosted by John Matthews, citizen by birth, Christian by grace, patriot by choice, and conservative by all that is reasonable. John's radio show is globally syndicated daily. Go to his website at www.theconservativesyndicate.net for broadcast information. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire, on its way to 64 in sunny Southern California. Well, you know, waiting in the wings is our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Let's get him in here.
And now, from the heart of the harbor in sunny Torrance, California, Dr. Wireless, our resident communications expert, is here to give you tips and recommendations on how to maximize your wireless technology. Give it up for our own Joel Saltzman.
Hey, welcome aboard. Good to have you here, my friend. And I got a message from you today saying that all kinds of stuff was going on and happening in the wireless world today.
What a crazy week. Just remarkable. Obviously, you heard the Comcast-Time Warner merger is off, which is fantastic for consumers.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not so fantastic if you're a Dodger fan. But for everybody else, it's a wonderful thing. The problem there is the merging partners couldn't make a convincing case that the deal would benefit cable or internet customers. And these guys have a reputation. The fear was that they might stifle competition from Netflix, Amazon, and some of the other service-dependent cable, broadband networks. They had an issue. I don't know if you recall this, Robert. In 2007, the BitTorrent affair, Comcast was caught degrading traffic from the file-sharing service that
yes.
BitTorrent was offering, and those guys were offering like a file sharing service to Hollywood. These guys are like distributing, licensed content from studios back and forth, and allegedly Comcast was degrading the service. So they flatly denied that they were deliberately blocking or targeting BitTorrent or anyone else. The FCC disagreed, and, for a while they behaved pretty decently. A lot of people speculate it was because they were waiting for the FCC's approval for the merger with NBC Universal. and that happened in 2011, and it transformed Comcast into a monster, into a combined content and distribution monstrosity, I guess you could call it. Here's what really stinks. That should have never happened, but they got a 4-1 vote. And one of the yes votes came from a commissioner by the name of Meredith Atwell Baker, who a few months after jumped directly into a job at Comcast. She's now the CEO of the wireless telecom industry's lobbying arm. Is that crazy?
Oh, yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, but this is why it's a wonderful thing that
how do they even get away with that, Joel? I mean, that is so obvious that you would think that they would be barred from that kind of activity.
Well, it's lobbyists, and this is how they do it. And up until AT&T and T-Mobile, that got thrown out, and that showed that it doesn't matter how many lobbyists and how much money you have, the public is only so stupid. And then when you have an FCC, with somebody like Tom Wheeler, who's worked in both aisles, this guy knows what's going on. He wasn't going to let it happen, and, we should all rejoice. So The good news is that did not happen. So, but here's what's strange. T-Mobile, who could not make it happen with Sprint, could not make it happen with AT&T, did not want to make it happen. Deutsche Telekom for about 5 years has been wanting to spin T-Mobile off or merge or sell them and get rid of them. John Laguerre did not seem like he wanted to do that, though, and recently he's changed his tune. And he's talking about how wonderful a partnership might be with T-Mobile and somebody in an aligned industry, meaning not another carrier, but possibly a cable company or possibly a Google.
Really?
And we're going to talk today about Project Phi. I don't know if you've heard about that yet.
No, I have not.
All right. Well, we got some exciting stuff.
Wow.
But anyhow, there's acquisitions, there's new technology. DARPA just announced there's a new X-Acto steerable bullet.
Oh, hey, you know what? I didn't know what the name of it was, but I actually saw a television program not that long ago where they were talking about a steerable bullet, and I couldn't hardly believe it.
Well, it's developed, and it was developed by us, and it's apparently extremely accurate. It's called X-Acto, Extreme Accuracy Tasked Ordnance, and it's a self-steering bullet technology designed to hit, long-distance shots and factors in, weather and, people trying to evade targets and, pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how exciting it is. Scary for sure.
Well, it might be exciting if you had one coming towards your rear end and you couldn't dodge it. But
it would be more. It'd be more exciting. It'd be more exciting if I was on the back end of it, not on the front end.
Absolutely. Well, I'm in the wireless industry, and I'm a little out of my realm with this, but I just thought it was a little fascinating that, they have, small 50 caliber size, weaponry that is capable of doing this.
Hey, Joel, small 50 caliber size?
Well, small considering you got GPS built into it, obviously when they can do that on a 22.
Yeah, it's got miniature capability, but here's the thing. If a 50 caliber shell went buzzing by your ear, you'd die from shock.
Yeah, you probably would. That is pretty big in that respect.
It's a scary thing. But you're right. A 50 caliber bullet. Can you imagine the technology? This is unbelievable.
It is pretty crazy. The other thing, I don't know if you heard about this, is we were talking last week about all the companies buddying up and, all the video content streaming companies that are popping up. Hulu just paid $180 million for the rights to stream all the Seinfeld episodes.
Wow.
So you got Hulu doing that. You got the other one, Netflix. They did the same thing with Friends. They bought the Friends, program, and they stream that. So you got a lot of small players getting some pretty important content, and this is why I suspect, the Comcast, Time Warners want to control all this, and, the more competition, the better it is for consumers, and they're worried about the big players stifling these little guys. I think these mergers and alliances with the small players are wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? That brings up another thing. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. Recently, I've been solicited, and a number of other people have been solicited about this new thing out there. Maybe it's not such a new thing, called the U-Box. Do you remember the old X-Box that used to be out there?
Uh-huh.
Well, now they have something called a U-Box, and you pay, it's like $400, and it comes pre-programmed and everything else, and it draws over 1,000 different programs off of the cloud, and it sounds to me like it's pirating them, because you don't have to pay for it. You get the major flights, you get the major sports all over the world, you get everything. I'll talk to you more about it when we come back from the break and let you know more. But it just seems to me it's just a matter of time before somebody gets arrested or somebody finds a way around this to cut this thing back, because that's really what has to happen here.
Well, been there, done that, got that T-shirt, and I'll tell you exactly how. Meanwhile, anybody who wants information as far as how to get the absolute best rates in the wireless industry, I'm talking plans as low as $26 a month, unlimited voice, unlimited text. Get with me, www.drwireless.com, or send me an email, joel@drwireless.com.
And we'll be right back after these brief messages with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. And just before we went on our commercial break, I was mentioning to Joel about this new U-Box thing that's coming out. And Joel says he's had experience with the old Xbox, and he wanted to tell us a little bit about that. So, Joel, you've got the microphone.
It wasn't an Xbox, Robert. It was one of the old, I'm going to tell you how old it was. If you recall the Sugar Ray Leonard and the Thomas Hitman Hearns affairs, I had a cable. I had some roommates, and we ended up buying this cable box. We got this great deal, and apparently it offered all the channels and all the pay-per-view events and all the fights and the wrestling and everything you could think of was free, the HBO, the Showtime, and I think it was about $400 for this thing, and we bought the box, and for 3 months everything just worked great. And then the next thing we knew, I had all my friends over for that fight, and about the third round, the service went dead. And I couldn't exactly call Time Warner and tell them that I was having a problem. And I had 20 guys ready to kill me, and I contacted the company that I bought the device from, that Monday, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're aware of the problem. You need a new card. The Time Warner replaced their cards, and we can do that. It's $350. Send us your box back." And at that point, I realized it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So, and I suspect this new thing is similar, and I would steer clear of it. It's obviously not legal, and they're going to get shut down and.
Oh, it's got to. Yeah, I mean, it can't be legal, and it's just you know what? It's $400, and if a person, if it was something that was going to work for a short period of time, the truth is if you watch the Pacquiao fight that's coming up, and if you watch some of this, if you're a big sports guy, and all those things, plus the fact that you'd no longer need your cable bill. I would probably get rid of my cable. I'd get rid of my phone. I'd keep the internet, except I'd switch over to Time Warner, who has 300 megabytes per second. But my cable bill is running right now about $171 a month. In 4 months I pay for this thing. 2 months actually.
Well, watch what happens here. Things are about to change. So things are going to get much more competitive than they ever have, and that Project Fi that we were talking about is going to contribute to it. And Project Fi is an initiative that Google is coming out with, and what it is going to do is it's going to utilize Wi-Fi, millions of Wi-Fi networks, and they buddied up with T-Mobile and Sprint. So they're basically an MVNO, a mobile virtual network operator of both Sprint and of T-Mobile, and they have their own Wi-Fi connectivity and their own cloud. They're going to use, encryption, so it's going to be secure, and they're going to change the way wireless is being done. So they're going to undercut everybody. What they're going to do that's unusual is they have like a $20 basic plan, and the basic plan is going to offer unlimited domestic talk and text, unlimited international text, low-cost international calls, Wi-Fi tethering, and coverage in 120 countries. Then what they do is it's like $10 per gigabyte for data, and for 1 gig, $20 for 2 gigs, $30 for 3 gigs. But what's interesting is there's no contracts, and if you buy, let's say, 2 gigs a data and only use 1, they're going to give you a credit, $1 credit for what you didn't use. So you're never going to pay for unused data, because at the end of the month you're going to get your unused data credited in dollars and cents. So you're only paying for what you use. So this is going to be some interesting stuff. So I think that the carriers are going to have to sharpen their pencils again. T-Mobile's on the right track. They're not going to have to fear too much. But AT&T and Verizon, they're going to have some problems competing with this. So Project Fi, it's up and running now. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole yet, because they're going to have some issues as far as integration. They have 2 different network technologies that are not compatible, so they're going to have to come out with a Nexus 6 or 9 or whatever that supports CDMA and LTE and T-Mobile's network. Everything's going to have to be, seamlessly transitioning back and forth. So I suspect it might not be quite there yet, but it's there close enough to give these other carriers, a reason to get competitive. So what do you think of that?
I think it's exciting. There's so many things going on. I mean, holy mackerel. Just sit back and let these guys, it's sort of like just sit back, let these guys battle it out and let them bleed and then pick up the pieces at the end.
Exactly. And I hate to say it, but it's almost, I really don't feel so bad for the big guys. In fact, I'm going to segue right into this one. Did you hear about the AT&T president of Uverse? What happened to this guy? Okay. Apparently, this president, Aaron Slater, was just fired, and he's being sued for $100 million for racist texts.
Really?
So apparently they found some racially sensitive images on his company phone.
This guy's got to be nuts.
He's got to be crazy. But I don't even want to say, what they found on his phone, but certainly not becoming, for a guy in his stature. But anybody who wants to Google it can, or they can go on our site. But AT&T president Aaron Slater, Slator, will be looking for a new job. And I'm sure AT&T
who's going to want him after? Who's going to want him after that? Yeah, who's going to want him after? Who's going to want him after that?
I have no idea.
Can you imagine what he put in jeopardy for that?
Well, I mean, I don't imagine it's similar to this Aaron Hernandez guy, all-pro tight end for the Patriots, $40 million contract. What are these guys thinking? Here's another one. You know who John Jones is?
Yes.
Number one MMA, pound for pound, maybe the greatest mixed martial artist ever. You hear what happened to this guy? This guy got arrested yesterday for hit and run. He apparently hit a woman, broke her arm, and ran. And, he was stripped of his title. And, who knows if he'll ever fight again. But you wonder, these guys have so much money, and it's like, what happened to maybe brain damage or something? I don't get it.
Well, they lose all reality. They go from nothing. They all of a sudden have all this money. They think they can buy anything they want, including the right to break all the laws and be irresponsible. And then they get their comeuppance, just like this. Anyway, why don't you go ahead and give your contact information, and we'll take a short break.
Not a problem. Anybody out there who wants to find out how to use Wi-Fi dialing to eliminate roaming costs while traveling, we can do that for you. Contact me at Joel at D as in David, R as in Rabbit, wireless.com, Joel at drwireless.com, or go to our site, www.drwireless.com.
And we've been talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. We'll be right back for him for his third segment today. And, boy, I'll tell you what, he just loaded with information. Don't go away. You don't want to miss any of this. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, who is just loaded with information today. So, Joel, you've got the microphone. Don't let me take any more of your ear.
All right. Well, I was waiting for you to ask me, what I had heard or thought of the Apple Watches since they came out between last week and this week.
Let me guess. Let me guess, Joel. You don't think much of them. First of all, it's brand new technology. Second of all, you have to develop a need for it. Third of all, I don't understand why I need to have a watch that requires me to carry the phone anyway.
Well, these are all valid points. Obviously, Samsung has a watch with LTE built into it. I have not used one yet. I've heard some interesting things regarding these watches, the funniest of which one of my fellow analysts was talking about the $10,000 and $15,000 models, and he said that these things are douchebag detectors.
Well, I mean, think about it. You buy a $10,000 or $15,000 model. That this is the first watches out of the gate. They're going to be obsolete here in just a month or 2 or 3. And this guy going to have to? Is it going to be upgradable? Is he going to be able to? $15,000.
That's exactly why he says. Anybody wearing one of these. Unless it's a Beyonce or somebody that Apple gave it to, anybody to drop $10,000 or $15,000 on a technology product like this, and the reality is they're having problems. I don't know if you heard about this, but anybody, and this is going to be a big problem for you if you want to use this Apple Watch as a heart rate sensor. Anybody with dark tattoos cannot use them.
Wait a minute. I do not have any dark tattoos.
Well, some people do, Robert, and if and for those people that do, they're finding that people with dark tattoos these things can throw off Apple's heart rate sensor, so it doesn't work properly.
Well, Joel, just the idea of getting a tattoo would throw off my heart rate.
I could never personally. I'm never, just everybody I know who's got them, they had to stay out of the water. They couldn't surf for 3 weeks. And I know they're always, it just seems like it's a painful experience. And I think they must look silly on you when you're 80 years old and they're, about a foot lower than where they started.
Oh yeah, and I'm just not into that kind of pain. I'm not a masochist. I'm not, I get enough, aches and pains without creating with some that I don't need to have.
No, I agree with you there. Couldn't agree with you more. But here's an interesting thing. I mean, I'm really surprised that they're having problems, but there's a component in those watches that's built by two different factories, and one of the factories is having a problem, and it's the component that works with notifications and vibration. And apparently, they're having major issues, and it's going to hold back shipping on these devices. And, anybody who's got one of these back ordered is going to probably wait even longer. So just a prime example why you don't want to be the first guy out of the block buying new technology. Never fails. Anyhow, some good news, though. Let me give you some good news. Microsoft did something remarkable. Microsoft has reworked their Windows 10 so it will work. You'll be able to port in Android and iOS applications to work on Windows. How does that sound?
Wow.
So, I've always liked the Windows platform, and I think this is going to really be great because they're making it easy for the iOS and Android developers, to directly, port these apps over to, with a Windows Universal kit. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm sure it's not going to be as easy as they're making it sound, but I think it's great that people, that was the big problem with Windows is the lack of apps that, compared to Android and iOS.
Well,
so
the
I think
thing
that's
is, before I retired and I was still in private practice, it was a conscious decision to go to Windows. That was really the business format or platform, and everything I needed actually worked on Windows, and very little of what I needed worked on Macs or worked on Apple, because of the kind of business that I had. As they developed, it got more and more. Now, obviously, I've switched from that PC-based smartphone and my computers and all that stuff, and I still use a PC desktop, but I have two Apple's right next to it, and I have my Apple iPhone, which I love. When I transitioned over to Apple, I thought, Jesus, I died and went to heaven.
Yeah, well, me too, and I have everything. I've got, just because I have to test it. But, I like the bulletproofness and, with the iOS. I always tell people, you get an Apple device, it's like joining the mafia. It's very hard to leave because they make it so simple to move from device to device, and everything integrates seamlessly, and it's so easy to upgrade. But here's one for you. I think you're going to like this one. There was a company that sold 83.2 million smartphones the first quarter of this year. They captured 24% of the smartphone market. You know who that company was? Company got 83.2 million sales of smartphones for the first quarter of this year. Who would you think, Apple?
Yeah, that's exactly who I would think it would be.
Well, I would too, but it was Samsung. Samsung beat out Apple for the first time in a long time. Apple's best quarter ever was the last quarter of 2014, and they sold 74.8 million smartphones. This quarter, they only sold 61.2 to 83.2 on Google. Anyhow, all of this information we have on our website, www.drwireless.com. Anybody who's looking for unlimited voice text data plans and is paying more than $40 a month should contact me because it's a new ball game out there. Joel at drwireless.com. www.drwireless.com is our website, and we're on Facebook. You can click on us at the bottom of the page.
And we've been talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Joel, I look forward to hearing from you next week. God, if you got this much today, I can't hardly wait to hear what you're going to have next Wednesday. In the meantime, Stay safe. Be happy. Have a great week. Make it a great week. Don't have a great week. Make it a great week.
Likewise, Robert. You too. Enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you. Great show.
Do you suffer from autoimmune disorders, thyroid conditions, or weight loss problems? Geared for Wellness can help. Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness program employs a synergistic team including experts in the fields of chiropractic, diet, nutrition, and neurotoxicity. Together, their experienced team is trained in utilizing cutting-edge and up-to-date nutrition and cellular detoxification programs designed to treat autoimmune disorders, thyroid conditions, Graves' disease, weight loss resistance, fibromyalgia, and much more. Contact them today to schedule your 100% guaranteed consultation. If you don't agree that they can help you, you don't pay. Call them now at 442-400-4373 or go to their webpage at www.gearedforwellness.com. Again, that number is 442-400-4373. You'll be glad you did. Setup My Cell is a smartphone and tablet setup and training service that sends a tech to your location. That's right. Setup My Cell will send a live tech to your home or office for smartphone and tablet tech support and training. Their techs can fix email glitches, sync iPhones with Android, PC, and Mac, and so much more. Contact them toll-free at 888-628-1119. For individuals, learn about everything our techs can do to help you make friends with your smart device. It is our opinion that a basic setup should be installed onto every device. Learn how we guide you through the session to choose the best apps and configurations with training. And for businesses, loading apps, configurations, security settings, training, we are able to help with all aspects of your investment. Please visit our webpage at setupmycell.com and don't forget to call us at 888-628-1119. Are you looking for real conservative talk from real conservatives? You need to listen to my good friend John Matthews on his radio show, The Conservative Syndicate. For over 50 years, the progressive movement has worked to redefine our Constitution by erecting an imaginary wall of separation between church and state through legislation and adjudication that encourages government dependence and the licensing of immorality that removes personal responsibility. The Conservative Syndicate seeks to tear down this wall through education, information, and engagement with those who seek uncompromising truth regarding the religion of politics and the politics of religion. It is time to reclaim our standing as one nation under God, hosted by John Matthews, citizen by birth, Christian by grace, patriot by choice, and conservative by all that is reasonable. John's radio show is globally syndicated daily. Go to his website at www.theconservativesyndicate.net for broadcast information. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 7:34 p.m. What am I saying? 7:34. How about 5:07 p.m.? My head has gone haywire here. 5:07 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire, on its way to 67 degrees in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? Waiting in the wings, Captain Kirk's proposed water pipeline from Washington to California, sampling of some local water agency responses to state-mandated reduction. And there's a new subject going to be talked about today, and that's the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. I understand that these people have lots of influence, and they actually use it. So let's not waste any more air. Let's get our own Ray Mailer in here with
Bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, "This will be the day that I die."
And now, from the National Archives of Public Planning, located in the basement of his Long Beach Reference Library, the unappreciated but widely acknowledged expert on past, present, and future infrastructure planning, let's welcome Mr. Ray Mailer and his American Grid.
I got this email from Ray today telling me about Captain Kirk's proposed water pipeline, and I thought, what the hell? Is this going to be a Star Trek episode? Now, you know what? As I thought more and more about it, Ray, I think it is a Star Trek episode.
It sure is. Yes, Captain James T. Kirk did propose a new enterprise to build a pipeline.
What a great transition is that? You never fail to surprise. You never fail to astound me, my friend. So let's get on with this announcement and find out what the bad news is. I'm assuming that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, it kind of he announced it last Monday, about a week and a half ago, and he wanted to build a pipeline from Seattle to Lake Mead, down at the Arizona border, and well, promptly Washington State officials said, "Hang on, we've got our own drought up here, and no, we're not going to give you any of our water."
Well,
so
isn't it Washington State? Isn't that where the Grand Coulee Dam is at?
I think so.
Yeah. So they're not going to share any of their damn water with us, huh?
No, that's right. I think we're going to get a big states' rights argument here. And Washington says, "Hey, that's our water, and we don't have enough of it as it is. So hands off."
So riparian rights don't move from state to state like they do from property line to property line.
Well, only with permission, and that's when things can move from property line to property line. Well, there's a state line, and then there's another state in the middle, which would just be a pass-through. The beautiful state of Oregon. And
I'm not even going to go there. I had something just going through my mind with that, but I'm not going to do it.
Anyway, what's interesting is he kind of drew a comparison with the Alaskan pipeline, and he was just kind of offering a common sense idea. Hey, if we can build a pipeline, across Alaska to move oil, surely we could do the same thing for water. And he even ballparked that this might run about $30 billion to construct. And he was going to finance it with crowdfunding, which was another very kind of interesting, novel approach to how would you get a big piece of infrastructure built? Certainly there's been plenty of bond money, but crowdfunding, now that's an interesting idea.
You hear more and more about this crowdfunding where you never heard about it before, and all of a sudden it's not just small entrepreneurs looking for funding. It's governments. Yeah.
And and in the end, by the end of the week, after Washington State shot his idea down, and a lot of critics were starting to circle the wagons, he eventually said, "Well, any money that is collected on our little crowdfunding websites, whatever doesn't get used for the actual construction, he'll donate to a politician who would add a water pipeline to his agenda." So that was one of the interesting things. When you have a crisis, sometimes you get some interesting and maybe entertaining ideas that come out, like a big water pipeline enterprise. But on the more pragmatic front, with the drought update, our own Water Resources Control Board kind of threw a big rock in the pond, and a few weeks ago announced 4 tiers of reduction targets, subject to a penalty of $10,000 per day if these local water agencies don't meet these targets. Well, in the ensuing weeks, those local agencies have been saying, "Hey, we've done what we can to meet the governor's voluntary request that he made a year ago, and we've actually made a lot of progress." So, in fairness to the WRCB, they are responding to these local agencies and saying, "Okay, we recognize you made a big reduction over that year, and we're going to reduce your target." And quite a few agencies saw reductions, and a few received increases, mostly for, I guess, an additional penalty for lack of response during the voluntary period. You might be interested to know, the biggest water provider in Southern California, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, had its mandated reduction reduced from 20% to 16%. Long Beach Water Department, same story. The Redondo Beach and Hermosa Beach, which are served by California Water Service Company, they have a 20% reduction target. Torrance and Manhattan Beach each have 24% reductions.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think those were also little reductions. I think they had been at 25% previously. Simi Valley, also at 24%. You might be interested in this next one.
Well, before you Go ahead and do it because I got to ask you a question.
The Cucamonga Valley Water District, which serves beautiful Rancho Cucamonga, has a mandated reduction of 32%.
Oh, God bless their little hearts. So why are we so lucky in Rancho Cucamonga, and other companies are getting reduced from 20 to 16%, and we're, good Lord, 36%. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this when we come back from our short break, and I recover from my heart attack here. We'll be right back with our own Ray Mailer and American Grid, and we're going to find out why in the heck Rancho Cucamonga has a 36% reduction mandate. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. I just inserted an IV. I am taking intravenous fluids. I'm having a stroke because I was just told by our own Ray Mailer that my American Grid is going to have to be reduced by 36% for water usage. Ray, for gosh sakes, I can't hardly stand this. And the only solution, and I've got the solution, I'm going to have to move.
Well, you could move and basically pass the buck on to onto the buyer of your property. Actually, perhaps you're feeling this is unjust.
Perhaps I'm feeling this is unjust.
Okay,
you know what?
It is unjust.
You doggone straight it is. And boy, I'll tell you, I am really watching my vocabulary at this moment. You know what? You are witnessing the greatest display of self-control you're ever going to hear in your whole life right this moment.
Boy, and I'm glad I am experiencing that self-control. well, I had gone through that list of the reductions of the different areas. LA, Long Beach.
You saved that last one on purpose. You did that on purpose. Wasn't even in alphabetical order. You did it on purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I do have a strategy. So anyway, LA, Long Beach, and the South Bay beach cities, they're all at about 80 to 90 gallons per person per day. And that is the basis for these mandated reductions. And those cities, have been asked to reduce by 16 or 20%, depending. And other cities like,
How about explaining to me why Fair Oaks, California, up in the Sacramento area, they don't even have water meters?
I don't know. Are they just drawing it straight from the river?
They're just some of it's coming, I suppose, but they have a water district, I'm guessing. But they don't even have water. They don't even have water meters.
Huh. Well, I'll have to check into that. Yeah. Well, there are a very small number of rights that are not subject to WRCB, and it's only trying to control what it is statutorily allowed to control, which does cover a tremendous amount of the state. So basically, a lot of the cities, the more urban cities, consume somewhere on the order of 100 gallons per person per day. But Cucamonga Valley is at 200 gallons per person per day.
Those cities that only are consuming 80 to 100 gallons a day, they smell.
Fair enough. Although
they don't boil their potatoes; they actually put them in oil.
Well, that would make things smell. Yes, but that also creates French fries, and even people in Rancho Cucamonga enjoy French fries.
Yes, they do. You mean freedom fries?
Or freedom fries. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes, freedom fries.
You know what? I was going to say, your lovely wife was listening. I saw her on the board earlier, but she hung up on us.
Well, she was probably thirsty, and given that we only have to reduce 16%, she could freely go get a fresh glass of water.
Well, I don't know. If you're already at 80 gallons per person and you got to go down another 16%, you're looking at another 12 gallons. You got to reduce that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. Now, I've got to give Cucamonga Valley Water District some credit because they actually succeeded in their negotiations with the Water Resources Control Board. Cucamonga Valley had been at 35%, so they bumped it down to 32%. So you got a little bit of a reprieve there, not much, but it is the sort of thing I guess you're going to have to make make some substantial change.
I feel so much better. What relief I feel from 35%.
Yeah. Well, you got much better treatment than Beverly Hills.
Oh,
Beverly Hills was found to be wanting, and WRCB basically slapped them and said, "Oh, well, gee, you guys didn't do anything. We're bumping you up from 35 to 36%." So, hooey on you.
I think they ought to take them to 40% and drop us down to 20%.
Well, I don't know that the negotiations are complete. The opportunity for public comment is still there.
Yeah, I've got a public comment for him.
Well, you might be interested to know Newport Beach also got off the poster children list as well. They said, hey, we've made a little bit of progress, and they got bumped down from 35 to 32%. But there was an interesting setback that happened in San Juan Capistrano. There's a taxpayers advocacy group that received a favorable verdict in an April 20 court ruling that threw into question the whole concept of tiered water rates. Mm-hmm. About 2/3 of all water agencies use a tiered approach, and they've been using it for many, many years. And part of it's to encourage water conservation, but may also reflect some level of increased unit cost, to deliver the additional water. Well, we the voters kind of complicated these things when we passed Proposition 218 in 1996. it was a seemingly straightforward law that seemed to assert the obvious, which is that utilities rates should reflect actual costs. But unfortunately, some cities like San Juan Cap created their own tiered water rates without trying to root them at all in the actual cost of delivering the water. So this taxpayer advocacy group brought suit against the city, won the first case, the city won the first case, but made adjustments, and then on appeal, the city lost. So the city's still trying to figure out what to do, but a lot of the other water agencies are now re-examining their tiered structures to see if they will withstand legal challenges. So they're trying to make sure that whatever that tiered structure is, reflects or is somehow rooted in the actual cost of delivering water. So that was a kind of an interesting development, kind of a step backward. When the governor himself is encouraging water districts to use the tiered approaches.
Well, with all due respect, the truth is that we do have a serious water problem. Everybody's got to do their share, and if, as you say, in Rancho Cucamonga, we're using 200 gallons of water per day per person. Other cities are using 80. That is totally unfair and inequitable. I think that everybody should have to suffer equally in order to survive this issue. So, having ranted and raved, I do see the equity in that. So in any event, we're talking to our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. We're going to be right back after these brief messages to find out what other wonderful news he might have for us from the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. Let's see what he does to us with that. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences
have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? We're talking to our own Ray Mailer in the American Grid. Now, Ray, don't laugh because that's really a bozo no-no around here. We've been told that if you laugh, people take offense to it because there's certainly nothing to laugh about. We should be crying right now with the subject we just spent the last 20 minutes talking about.
Although if we did cry, it might help the water crisis.
I'd be a little salty, but yeah, you know what? I'm feeling a little salty anyway. But you know what? Make my day and tell me all about the BOEM.
Yes, the BOEM, another bureaucracy that many people have never heard of, but actually exercises quite a bit of influence. So this bland-sounding bureaucracy, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, is the successor of another bland-sounding bureaucracy named the Minerals Management Agency. So the BOEM was formed in the wake of the Deepwater Horizon disaster, which you may recall, one of the offshore oil platforms exploded in the Gulf of Mexico and I think claimed 11 lives, if I remember correct, and spewed billions and billions of gallons of crude into the Gulf.
Well, I understand that it's still leaking. It's just not getting a lot of notoriety.
Yeah. I imagine it is still leaking, although certainly not at the rate that it had been. I think after the passage of about a year, they seemed to get it capped pretty well on it. But there's certainly still a consequence. Well, this disaster kind of spewed both an investigation and a subsequent reorganization of these agencies within the Department of Interior. So the Minerals Management Agency and BOM now are responsible for managing 1.7 billion square miles of underwater property on the outer continental shelf of the U.S. Basically, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Gulf of Mexico, and the Pacific around Alaska and Hawaii. It manages from 3 to 200 miles off the U.S. coasts, and it's a tremendous amount of property under management by this BOEM.
Now that's into international waters, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what the treaty situation is on that because I didn't think U.S. territory extends that far, but I would assume that that the Bureau is engaging in lawful activities, so there must be some manner under which, under treaty, the Bureau can operate, and its main business is leasing these underwater lands for energy development. Back in the minerals management days, it was primarily for oil and gas, and there must have been evolving some renewable energy interest. When BOM came into being in 2011, after the investigation, it clearly received a mandate to also lease for renewable energy, wind energy, or tidal energy development. And so there are a number of projects that BOEM has approved, most of them off the Atlantic coast in Massachusetts, Delaware, Rhode Island, Virginia, and Maryland. And these are all wind projects. So basically they're planning to, eventually there will be built a wind turbine, or should say an array of wind turbines, to capture the wind energy off the coast, connect it to an underwater transmission line, and bring it into the electric grid on land.
So do you envision that we're going to have another area like we see in the Coachella Valley, that it's a wind farm and only it's going to be out at sea instead of in the mountain passes? Exactly.
You're exactly right. And a number of these have been constructed around Europe, I think most notably off the Dutch and German coasts. I'm sure there are a number of others in France and Spain.
So they're doing this already.
Yeah, worldwide that's being done already. I don't think any have been constructed in the U.S. yet. So these are new leases that have been set up. And just a kind of a cautionary note, when BOEM leases the land out, that merely gives the company the right to eventually construct something, but it does not grant the right to construct. Constructing these turbine facilities is still subject to the usual environmental review under the NEPA law. And where there's big reports are frequently written, a lot of opportunity for public comment. I do believe there had been an earlier proposition for a wind energy facility off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, and it wound up spurring some NIMBY sentiment, where the folks on Martha's Vineyard said, we'd like to be able to just gaze out onto the water and not have to look at turbines. I don't know the status of where that is. Clearly some leases have been put in place off the coast of Massachusetts, and it looked on the map like there is one near Martha's Vineyard. But
well, I'd like not to have to reduce my water consumption by 36%, 32%.
And if we generated enough electricity to create a desalination plant, there'd be plenty of water.
You are quick. What I meant is the people on Martha's Vineyard don't want to look out and look at these wind farm things. These what do you call them? Turbines. But the necessity there is just as great as the necessity for reducing our water consumption.
You're correct. You're correct. Our need for water, our need for power, is great in both areas. The population continues to increase, so we're going to need more water. We're going to need more energy. On the one hand, there's a strong argument for developing a renewable energy resource. It's certainly being done, quite a bit on land, such as the area you described in the Inland Empire near Coachella Valley, and plenty in the Mojave Desert as well. But some offshore facilities, there's plenty of wind out there. So it's just a question of how badly do we want the power, or how badly do we want to preserve those uninterrupted views of the horizon?
Well, they could put the most effective wind power in Washington, D.C. There's more hot air in Washington, D.C. than anywhere else in the world.
Oh, if we could only harness that.
Okay. Ray, this is actually this is fascinating. I really enjoyed today's segment. Look forward to next week with you, and this is terrific.
Well, very good, very good. Yeah, I look forward to next week's show. I think I might talk a little bit more about BOEM. There are a few more details the listeners might be interested in. And
interesting. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. So, listen, you have a great week. Stay safe. I know you're in your office in Los Angeles, so take it easy, stay safe, and give that lovely lady of yours a hug and a kiss from me, will you?
I'll be happy to.
And we'll be right back after these brief messages with our happy birthdays for today, the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. Don't go away. You don't want to miss these things. We'll be right back.
Do you suffer from autoimmune disorders, thyroid conditions, or weight loss problems? Geared for Wellness can help. Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness program employs a synergistic team including experts in the fields of chiropractic, diet, nutrition, and neurotoxicity. Together, their experienced team is trained in utilizing cutting-edge and up-to-date nutrition and cellular detoxification programs designed to treat autoimmune disorders, thyroid conditions, Graves' disease, weight loss resistance, fibromyalgia, and much more. Contact them today to schedule your 100% guaranteed consultation. If you don't agree that they can help you, you don't pay. Call them now at 442-400-4373 or go to their webpage at www.gearedforwellness.com. Again, that number is 442-400-4373. You'll be glad you did. Setup My Cell is a smartphone and tablet setup and training service that sends a tech to your location. That's right. Setup My Cell will send a live tech to your home or office for smartphone and tablet tech support and training. Their techs can fix email glitches, sync iPhones with Android, PC, and Mac, and so much more. Contact them toll-free at 888-628-1119. For individuals, learn about everything our techs can do to help you make friends with your smart device. It is our opinion that a basic setup should be installed onto every device. Learn how we guide you through the session to choose the best apps and configurations with training. And for businesses, loading apps, configurations, security settings, training, we are able to help with all aspects of your investment. Please visit our webpage at setupmycell.com, and don't forget to call us at 888-628-1119. Are you looking for real conservative talk from real conservatives? You need to listen to my good friend John Matthews on his radio show, The Conservative Syndicate. For over 50 years, the progressive movement has worked to redefine our Constitution by erecting an imaginary wall of separation between church and state through legislation and adjudication that encourages government dependence and the licensing of immorality that removes personal responsibility. The Conservative Syndicate seeks to tear down this wall through education, information, and engagement with those who seek uncompromising truth regarding the religion of politics and the politics of religion. It is time to reclaim our standing as one nation under God, hosted by John Matthews, citizen by birth, Christian by grace, patriot by choice, and conservative by all that is reasonable. John's radio show is globally syndicated daily. Go to his website at www.theconservativesyndicate.net for broadcast information. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. That's down from 94, on its way to 64 degrees and sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is? Today is April the 29th, and it's somebody's birthday. Well, here it is. He was born in 1954. TV Guide lists his show as the best show ever. So, you know what? Happy birthday, Jerry Seinfeld. And Michelle Pfeiffer, born today in 1958, actress who garnered mainstream attention with her appearance in Scarface. Yeah. And China Forbes, born in 1970, singer and songwriter with Pink Martini. And born in 1970, an actress best known for her work under the direction of Tarantino, my grandson's favorite director. I'm talking about Uma Thurman. Is her birthday today. And, you know what, let's talk about what happened today in history. On April the 29th in 1864, the Theta Chi fraternity is founded at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. And in 1967, Aretha Franklin releases Respect. Yes, sir, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And here's one for you. On April the 29th, 1834, Charles Darwin's expedition sees the top of the Andes from Patagonia. And you know what? Our quote for today comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he says, "Great are they who see that spiritual is stronger than any material force, that thoughts rule the world." Well, you know what? Talking about thoughts rule the world, that's kind of where we're at here when we talk about the secret daily teachings for your life. You know what? It's all about having a positive mental attitude. That's your thoughts. If you do, not only is your life going to be better for it, but every life of the people that you touch, the people around you, will be better for it too. Today's teaching is when you allow a thought of doubt to enter your mind, the law of attraction will soon line up one doubtful thought after another. The moment a thought of doubt comes, release it immediately. Send that thought on its way. Replace it with, I know I'm receiving now, and I feel it. And you know what? It'll happen. You'll feel it. Make it yourself. Have that positive mental attitude. If you don't have a positive mental attitude, you lose. Trust me. Now, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is prime your team for creative thinking. You know, innovative thinking is fueled when a wide range of talents, skills, and traits come together. If you want to enhance the creative potential of your team, develop the diversity of their skills. Here are a few ways to get started. First of all, build expertise. Send your team to professional conferences or arrange training sessions to help them gain new skills. And take field trips. Arrange a site visit to a customer or even to a competitor, or observe best practices in an unfamiliar industry. For example, an airline hoping to improve customer service might visit a clothing retailer known for its excellence in that area. And host creative events. Bring in outside speakers to give talks or workshops. And then finally, Seek additional resources. Gather your team to watch and discuss a TED Talk, or form an ad hoc reading club to discuss books and articles of interest. You know what? Those things all work. You have to empower your team to think as a team the best way they can. Now, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. First up, you know the biggest cause of matrimonial fighting is money. It's an absolute fact, guys. And here's one for you. There are more Barbie dolls in Italy than there are Canadians in Canada. Give that some thought. There's a scary thought, right? Here's one for you. Woodpecker scalps, porpoise teeth, and giraffe tails have all been used as money, legal tender. And did you know that it's illegal to be a prostitute in Siena, Italy, if your name is Mary? So any other name, I guess go have at it, right? How about this? You know, alfalfa sprouts and feta cheese contain bacteria that could be harmful to small children and pregnant women. Alfalfa sprouts. You know what? And every one of these Greenpeace people, all of one of these nature lovers, tree huggers, they all think alfalfa sprouts are the only way to go. That's the kind of salad you should be having. Now, did you know that the only word in the English language to contain 3 back-to-back double-letter combinations is bookkeeper? You ever wonder about the mentality of the people that come up with these interesting but useless facts? You gotta say to yourself, what on earth are they thinking? What are they doing? Can't they get a real job? They're all dealing with this stuff. Try this on for size. Did you know that flying from London to New York by Concorde, due to the time zones crossed, you can arrive 2 hours before you leave? Now, of course, the Concorde's not flying anymore, but isn't that interesting? I'll give you one more here. Did you know that 15 million gallons of wine were destroyed in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake? Boy, that hurts. Just if you like wine, that hurts. How about this? You know, bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches a day. There's an interesting fact for you if you think about it. You know, here's one for you. Did you know that baby's eyes do not produce tears until the baby's approximately 6 to 8 weeks old? No tears for that baby. So you can hurt that baby all you want. I shouldn't say it that way. You can disappoint that baby all you want, and it's not going to cry. You think it's crying, but it's not crying. You certainly don't want to hurt the baby. Here's another one for you. In the United States, for every dollar you spend on gasoline, 27 cents of it is in taxes. 27% goes to Uncle Sam. Hey, did you know that Walt Disney, the creator of Mickey Mouse, was afraid of mice? That's a fact. Absolutely. And here's another one for you. Goodyear Rubber Company researched and concluded that shoes wear out faster on the right foot than the left foot. You wonder why? Because most people are right dominated. Their right foots they're right-handed, they're right-footed, and they're more dominated that way. Let's see. Here, I'll give you another one here. 2nd Street is the most common street name in the United States. 1st Street is the 6th, not the 1st. So give that a thought. And then finally, did you know that 1/3 of the electricity produced on Earth is used to power electric light bulbs? There you go. Interesting, but useless facts. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about our emails for the day. My first email is going to be talking about the head of household segment. That's coming from a writer from Warwick, Rhode Island. We're talking about head of household. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. Man, it's still 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire, on the way to 64 degrees. You know, if you think about it, in Boston it's 50 degrees right now. Chicago, 57 degrees. New York City, where my grandchild Riley Logan's at NYU, it's 56 degrees and mostly cloudy. And here in Rancho Cucamonga, you know what? I don't think I want to give it up. 92 degrees. It's absolutely beautiful. Blue skies. It's just wonderful outside. Now, we're coming down to the wire. It's time for our emails. I want to remind you that this is an entertainment part of the show. The answers we're giving you are only as good as the information you give me. And a lot of time, and you're going to see it here, what you ask me is a little sketchy when it comes to data to make a decision on. I'm giving you a good comprehensive answer based on the information that you actually gave me. But I want to tell you that you should always, always, always consult with a licensed professional in your area when you're actually going to make a decision based on those facts. Now, my first email comes from Warwick, Rhode Island, and asking about head of household, and says, my wife moved out last year, leaving me with the children, but we haven't divorced. She refuses to file a joint return with me. Since I provided a home to our children, can I file my return as head of household to get a lower tax rate than I would be by filing separately? Well, unfortunately, if your wife left your home during the first half of the year, or I shouldn't say unfortunately, then the answer to your question would be yes, you can. But according to the IRS, you also qualify for head of household status if you, though married, file a separate return, your spouse was not a member of your household during the last 6 months of the year, and you provided for qualifying child more than half the cost of maintaining your home as a household that was the main home for more than one half of the year for that child. So the easiest way, though, is to go to IRS Publication 501, Exemption, Standard Deduction, and Filing Information to get more details, and that'll help you with that. But again, like I said, always contact that licensed professional. You'll be glad you did. Next question comes from Cary, North Carolina, asking about Roth IRA pros and cons, and writes, our mother lives on Social Security and money from an IRA and is now in low tax We children disagree about whether she should convert her IRA to a Roth IRA. What do you think? You know what? I actually have too few facts about your family situation here to know for sure, but in general, if your mother expects to consume her IRA, she may be best leaving it as is, since she pays little tax on it anyhow. Now, on a conversion to a Roth IRA, her current IRA balance is going to be taxable and may pile up into a higher tax bracket than she would otherwise ever have to pay. Now, if she plans on leaving her IRA funds to her heirs, a conversion might make sense. She would pay a modest tax because she is in that lower tax bracket and on that conversion, but make the Roth IRA funds tax-free to her heirs who may be in a much higher tax bracket. Now, a Roth IRA's lack of minimum annual distributions during her lifetime might also allow her to leave more IRA funds to her heirs. So, as I said before, consult an expert about the details of your situation. You just always have to do that, and you want to be careful at all times. Last email today comes from Spartanburg, South Carolina. We're talking about the Social Security benefits, and the writer says, is it true that Social Security benefits are taxed only when you take them before age 65? Well, the answer to your question is no, but Social Security benefits may be reduced when you take them before your normal retirement age if you have earned income. Now, this may seem like a tax, but it isn't. It's just part of the benefit formula. When you reach normal retirement age, this earned income reduction actually stops. Now, let me give you an example of this. If you're receiving Social Security benefits and will not reach your normal retirement age next year, Social Security will withhold $1 of benefits for every $2 that you earn over $13,560. Now, regardless of your age, part of your Social Security benefits may be subject to income tax. Up to 50% of benefits are taxable when adjusted gross income, or AGI, plus 1/2 of Social Security benefits, plus all of your tax-free interest exceeds $25,000 on a single return or $32,000 on a joint return, and up to 85% may be taxed when AGI exceeds $34,000 single or $44,000 joint. Now, takes note, normal retirement age varies with your date of birth. For your details on this, visit the Social Security Administration's Social Security online at their website at www.ssa.gov. Now, I want to remind you that we do this for entertainment purposes. I'm giving you good, thorough answers based on the information that you're actually providing me. But you know what? You need to go see that licensed professional, because they're going to call you into their office. They're going to do an interview. They're going to gather more information from you, data that's actually necessary, so they can give you a comprehensive legal answer to your questions. The nice part about it is all licensed professionals have what they refer to as errors and omissions insurance, which means that they're responsible for the answers and the counsel that they give you. So you don't have to be looking over your shoulder, worried about somebody knocking on your door or ringing your doorbell or sending you one of those certified letters, saying, hey, let's talk. That person is going to be responsible. You get one of those letters, one of those notices, you simply call that person and say, here you are, buddy. They get to pay the piper if they made a mistake with that counsel. That's the beauty of it. You get to sleep well at night because you're covered. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio every single Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with on the show, and my email address at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be John Matthews, and he's going to be talking about the conservative syndicate and what's going on in Washington, D.C. today. My special guest, Sean Lefebvre, is continuing his series Geared for Wellness. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here every Monday through Friday. That's our show for today.
Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay happy, and you know what? Good night, everybody.